but I just want to focus on one or two things max, no more, because there's so much I want to do in this life. And the reality of it is it can't all get done. Every time I get a new idea, I can't capitalize on it. It's not possible. Nothing will ever get finished. And the goals I have take a lot of focus. And the moment focus gets steered away, it's gonna be a lot harder to get there. So for example, one day you might say, all right, let's say you're a musician. Like, all right, today I gotta do. And before I say that, I said this in a recent video too. I highly recommend that you gauge everything based on input and not output. So what I mean by that is the only way you can get a certain outcome is through the input you do. So forget about the output. Once you know what you want, just focus on the input. So let's say your goal is to get a car by the end of the year. Once you know that's your goal, forget about it completely. Detach from the goal completely and only focus on the input, meaning what you can do to get there. So your goal should not say get a car by the end of the month. Your goal should say save up this much money per paycheck. The things that you can control. You can't control whether or not you get a car this month unless you control the input. And even then you can't fully control it. You know what I mean? If I say my goal is to be married by the end of next year, I can't control whether or not I'm married by the end of next year, but what I can control is how I treat, how my, what's the word? Effort into meeting women, my effort into treating women the right way. And then even then it's not controllable, but I can gauge it based, if I gauge my success based on what I can control, which is what I can input, what I can give, you'll be a lot more happy, a lot better off, I think, because you'll be less often let down. You know what I'm saying? So another good example is if you're approaching a girl, if you're focused on the output, if your intention is to get her number, if she says no, your feelings are gonna be more hurt because you feel like a failure. But if your goal is just to approach the woman, you say that's your goal, which is something you fully control, is whether or not you approach her. Whether or not she says no doesn't affect you as much because you were successful in your goal. Now, granted, if you approach women, there's a likelihood that you will get their number, so that you still get the output that you want, but you're focused on the input. So I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, piano. If you're a piano person, let's say your 3 goals for the day is you want to practice for an hour and a half, right? Practice for an hour and a half on the piano. You want to study a piece of sheet music for 30 minutes. And you want to, I don't know, read for 30 minutes. That's your 3 goals for that day. Okay, boom. Then the next day, you might say, all right, I'm going to still do my hour and a half of practice, but I got to do laundry. So I'm going to put laundry on that list. And then after the laundry, I'm going to read for 30 minutes. Then the next day, keep the piano practice. We already did laundry. I'm going to clean you're going to clean your bedroom. Clean your bedroom. And let's say you gotta do some more cleaning. So clean the bedroom and clean the bathroom. Boom. So those are your 3 things you're gonna do that day. It could change up, but if you have a goal, and this is why I say you have to be very narrowed down focused. I like that he said your goals can only be 3 because when you only have 3 goals, it really forces you to narrow down what is important in your life. It really forces you to narrow down what's important in your life.